Welcome back. Your account is set up. Now it's time to actually use it. In this video, we're going to go from zero to a live, running GPU workload. We'll walk through how clusters and machines work, how to deploy an inference endpoint, how to connect to your cluster directly via SSH, how to hook up your IDE, and how to make your first API call. This is the core Fabric workflow. And once you've done it once, everything else becomes straightforward. Let's get into it. Before we deploy anything, let's quickly understand how Fabric is structured, because it's different from most cloud platforms. Click on Machines in the left navigation. This is your hardware layer. A machine is a physical server with dedicated GPUs allocated to your organization. You can see the IP address, status, GPU model, and which clusters it belongs to. This hardware is yours, not shared with other customers, not virtualized away. Now click on Clusters. A cluster is how you actually work with that hardware. Think of a cluster as a logical container you create on top of one or more machines. It defines the resources, how many GPUs, how much CPU and RAM, and gives you an addressable environment to run workloads inside. Create a cluster with as little as one GPU from your rented machines. Quickly spin up or reconfigure clusters between different projects or team members. The cluster list shows you all your active clusters, their GPU model, resource allocation, and current status. This is the foundation everything else builds on. Now let's deploy a model. Click on Inference Models in the left navigation. This page shows all your deployed inference endpoints, models that are actively running and serving requests via a REST API. You can see the model name, which cluster it's running on, GPU allocation, and the live endpoint URL. To deploy a new model, click Create New Inference in the top right. A dialog will appear. First, select your model from the drop-down. You'll see options across different categories, including LLMs, image generation models, and more. Choose the one you want to deploy, or even bring your own via Hugging Face token. Next, select the cluster you want to run it on, configure your GPU allocation, and click Deploy. Fabric handles everything from here, pulling the model weights, allocating the resources, and spinning up the endpoint. Within a few minutes, you'll have a live URL you can send requests to directly. Once it's active, you'll see it listed on this page with a green active status and an endpoint URL you can copy. With your cluster running, you can connect to it directly over SSH for full terminal access. This is useful for running custom scripts, managing files, or doing anything that needs direct machine access. To get your cluster's connection details, go to Clusters and find the cluster you want to connect to. Click the external link icon to open the cluster detail view. Here you will find your SSH key. Copy it, open your terminal, and paste it in. If you added your SSH key in the account setup step, you will connect immediately with no password required. From here, you have full shell access to the cluster environment. You can run Python scripts, launch Jupyter notebooks, manage your model files, whatever you need. If you prefer to work inside VS Code or Cursor, rather than a terminal, you can connect your IDE directly to the cluster using Secure Shell Remote Development. In VS Code, install the Remote SSH extension if you haven't already, then open the command palette and search for Remote SSH, connect to host, enter the address shown on your cluster detail page, and VS Code will open a new window connected directly to the remote environment. Everything works as if you are working locally. File Explorer, terminal, extensions, but all execution happens on the GPU cluster. You can open folders, edit files, and run code with full access to the hardware. Cursor works the same way through its Secure Shell Remote feature. Once connected, you have the full power of an AI-native IDE with your cluster's GPUs right behind it. Finally, let's make an API call to your deployed inference endpoint. Grab your endpoint URL from the Inference Models page, click the copy icon next to the URL, then grab your API key from the API key section. Here's what a basic call looks like in Python. You'll import the requests library, set your endpoint and API key, and send a post request with your model and message. The response comes back as standard JSON in the OpenAI compatible format. So any tool or library that works with OpenAI's API will work here too. That's it. You've gone from a deployed model to a live API response in just a few lines of code. From here, you can integrate this endpoint into any application, script, or workflow you're building. And that's a wrap on your first GPU workload. You've seen how machines and clusters work, deployed a live inference endpoint, connected via SSH, hooked up your IDE, and made your first API call.